from my ancestors.
Hey friends, and welcome back to Path of Exile 2 for the Day 4 update of the Smith of Kitava Corrupting Cry build. So, I'm really happy with how the build is performing. We are now in tier 8 maps, and proceeding really well. We definitely need more strength, but we've made quite a few upgrades to the build. So, our hammer, honestly, we just slammed another Exalt on it and got really lucky with another increased physical damage, and then I replaced the iron runes. So our hammer has significantly improved since last time, which is great. Then we have replaced our unique helmet with a Black Sun crest. We just wanted the 15% increased strength roll. The others are bonuses, so there's that. This one's pretty cheap. So far, I didn't see if the price changed overnight. Our shield still needs some work. Block chance is the most important thing, followed by life, fire res, and strength. We don't have strength on this one, which is a real bummer. The max chaos res is pretty nice, but it's not more important than having more strength. So we're gonna have to replace this at some point. Our amulet is honestly pretty good. I would still like to replace it with something better, but it's got 3 of the things that we really want, which is strength, life, and fire res. This ring is actually in pretty desperate need of being replaced, so we need the chaos res, we need the life, and what we're missing here is fire res and strength, so we need to replace this ring. Our chest piece has been replaced a couple times, but the latest one is the superior dastard armor, which is an armor that has an implicit life roll, and then we've added more life onto it, and then we have it normal, and we're getting everything else from the class, which is going really well. The last ring we have is this one, which I really like. It's just I want a better life roll on it, so this is fire res, strength, life, that's what we want, and then it's got chaos res as the implicit. Again, we want something better, but this serves really well right now. Our gloves, same deal, life, strength, fire res, and chaos res. Our belt is something that I really like, because it has a bunch of physical thorns damage, and that is going to feed into a build I want to make later. Doesn't help us really right now, but we have life, fire res, chaos res. That's all we really want from here. I would actually really love to have another charm slot, because I feel like stuns are really rough this league, so I would love to have freeze and stun charms. And then our boots are recently upgraded, but they still have a lot of room to be upgraded. So we have 25% increased move speed, life, fire res, chaos res. So same story all around. We want chaos and fire res, strength and life. So that's where that sits. Now, a couple of updates we've made to the build. So we're still using Hammer of the Gods. Someone commented on my video and made a really great suggestion that we use Blood Hunt. Now, I do think that this skill is great for helping speed up clear, because it is something that you can spam, and the explosion is based on blood loss. So the more blood loss something has, we do 25% of the blood loss as an explosion. My problem with it is what I'm looking for is something to scale single target damage, right? Because the clearing isn't so bad. We just need more strength, and I think the clearing will solve itself. So I was looking for something to help single target, and while admittedly the spear that I used is the worst spear that I could find, what I wanted to test was the 25% scaling, as well as the potential to bleed. And the problem is, I don't think Blood Hunt has the ability to bleed, and I don't think the explosion that is triggered by Blood Hunt hits the enemy that you trigger it from. So the enemy that has the blood loss that you trigger the blood explosion from does not get hit by that explosion. And I show a boss fight here. It's the one I tested with. So I think there's potential there, but I think for me personally, I'm gonna stick with Hammer of the Gods. There is a lot of potential here if you get a better spear and you actually invest into it. But I'm not going to go down that road. Also, big thank you to everyone making suggestions. These are awesome. I love the experimentation. I love trying to find new things and see how well things work together. So I think one thing that I am going to do today is I'm going to replace Wind Dancer. And the reason for that is I think the spirit that I'm spending here is much better spent on a good beast tame. So I think that's the way I'm going to go, is I'm going to get a good beast with a physical damage aura and maybe a haste aura. If I can get both, that would be super great. If I can't get both, I might actually prefer the haste over the physical damage aura. Other than that, we need to upgrade our rings and possibly our amulet and definitely our shield, and just proceed through the Atlas. Now, what does the build look like at the moment? So let's go fight this boss, Blooming Field, and see how the build is working now. So we're in tier 8s. I really appreciate the amount of sustain that we get from the new tier of maps. So real quick, we'll do a pack or two, and then I'll cut to the boss, because that's what's important. So this is generally what the clear looks like. Once we get a perfect jeweler's orb and we can get a 6th socket in here, the socket we're going to use is I think it's mobility. I've actually got it on me. Yeah, mobility. So mobility is going to increase the speed we can move while we're shouting. I'm also really enjoying how tanky this build is. Like, I keep an eye on my health bar, and I will occasionally use my health flask, especially when I'm getting hit by like a ton of poisons like these guys. But since we are near cap on KS res now, it feels way better. Alright, so just as a showcase, I switched out my Swift Affliction support, which is one of our damage supports, for the mobility support, just to show how quickly we move with or without it. So this is with mobility support and with the anoint that I have on my amulet, which I think is unhindered movement. No, freedom of movement. So you can see we maintain a lot more speed when we do this, as opposed to without it, which is a significant slowdown. So once we have that perfect jeweler's orb, we should be able to really increase the speed at which we're clearing, and I think it'll feel a lot better. Alright, and that covers the update for the build. So again, a couple of things I want to update. Love that freedom of movement is something that I can anoint, which allows us to move a little faster. So it increases evasion rating, which I don't care about, but it decreases the movement penalty using skills. This is a reduced, but it should be able to work really well with mobility, which is a less, so those should stack really well. And then other than that, we're just upgrading our gear, getting more strength, working toward more increases to strength. So we're working toward polymathy here. I don't know yet if we're going to go for jack of all trades. Right now it seems like a really good decision because our minimum is 100, which is a 40% damage increase, so it seems like a worthwhile thing. And then I think what we're going to do is take these 2 points to get a huge increase in block chance, because I don't know how much benefit we're really getting from our defenses, being that we only have about 1,000 armor and an ES respectively. So I think a lot of our defense is just being tanky, having a lot of health, having a lot of resistance, and having about a 50% chance to block. So I think we might just lean into block even though I really hate that there's reduced defenses here. And yeah, I think that's probably the correct way to go. And then last thing we need to do is we need to ascend that one last time to get Forged in Flame so that we can get max res for everything, not just fire, which is going to be really nice because that'll take us up to 80 in everything, and then we can just get more fire res and work our way up to hopefully 90. If we need to, we can also grab these 3 nodes or another 3 max res, which will be really nice. But yeah, that's the state of the build and the plan going forward. I am going to push this build to T15s and probably try to down the pinnacle at least once, and then I think I'm going to switch over to a Thorns build. I've been kind of thinking about doing a Thorns build. They look like a lot of fun. I do really want to do one, so I might actually just commit to doing that. And yeah, that's the plan. So thank you so much for watching. If you want to keep up with the build, I'll be streaming here very shortly, and you can join us there. And then I'll be posting another update probably a little later this week as far as how the build is going and how we end up. Hopefully we can push through to the end of maps today and get into the bossing portion. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.